When the mirror stops reflecting back the person you think you are. Most people believe the mirror shows truth. It doesn't. It shows negotiation between who you are, who you think you are, and who you fear you might be. He remembered standing in front of a mirror after a long night, and for a brief second, the reflection felt unfamiliar. Not frightening, not monstrous, just wrong. As if the person looking back knew something he didn't. As if the face belonged to someone he only played but never became. That moment, the fracture between identity and perception, is the beginning of the mirror test breakdown. Self-awareness isn't natural. It's maintained. When it falters, the mind splits. What you see, what you feel, what you know, what you deny. The reflection doesn't change, you do. And when the brain fails to recognize its own patterns, a terrifying question rises. If this isn't me, then who have I been all this time? If that sentence made your breath glitch, if your stomach dropped, if a memory flickered, your mirror has spoken before.
Number 10. The first flicker, when your reflection feels delayed. The breakdown begins subtly. He washed his face one morning, looked up, and felt like the reflection took half a second too long to return his gaze. Not physically, psychologically. The feeling that you moved first and the mirror followed. This is cognitive desynchronization, when the brain fails to sync internal awareness with external perception. It feels like a glitch, a tiny fracture between intention and identity. Most people ignore it, but the brain remembers. Human trigger. When you doubt the timing, you begin to doubt the self. Emotion shift. Recognition to unease. You didn't see a delay, you saw the first crack.
Number 9. The face that doesn't match the feeling. He once looked in the mirror while feeling empty and saw a face that looked calm. Too calm. The mismatch felt unsettling, as if the reflection belonged to someone who wasn't inside his body anymore. This is affective dissonance, a conflict between internal emotion and external expression. The mirror becomes a witness to everything you refuse to feel. Human trigger. When the face disagrees with the feeling, the mind questions both. Emotion shift. Unease to doubt. Your reflection didn't lie, your emotions hid.
Number 8. When familiarity feels like being watched. He stood too long in front of the mirror and suddenly felt observed, not by someone behind him, by the reflection itself, as if the eyes were studying him instead of matching him. This is self-externalization, a moment where the brain treats the reflection as a separate entity. It feels like presence. It feels like judgment. It feels wrong. Human trigger. Self-awareness collapses when the self becomes other. Emotion shift. Doubt to suspicion. You weren't being watched. Your mind stepped outside of you.
Number 7. The micro-expression you didn't remember making. He once locked eyes with his reflection and saw a tiny twitch, a flicker of irritation that he didn't feel or didn't know he felt. The mirror exposes the unconscious first. Tension in the jaw, the frozen breath, the lifted eyebrow. When you see an expression before you feel the emotion, self-awareness tears. This is emotional latency, the moment the mirror knows your truth before you do. Human trigger? Your reflection reveals what your consciousness suppresses. Emotion shift, suspicion to alarm. The mirror didn't betray you. It translated you.
Number 6. when you speak and don't recognize the mouth moving. He murmured something, a phrase, a thought, a reflex, and noticed his reflection speak in a way that felt mechanical, detached, alien, automatic. This is speech dissociation, a fracture between thought and action so small, most people never notice it. But once you do, you can't unsee it. It feels like the reflection is performing a script you didn't consciously write. Human trigger? Self-recognition fails when your own voice feels foreign. Emotion shift? Alarm to disbelief. You didn't sound unfamiliar. You finally heard yourself.
Number 5. When you realize you don't know your own face. He stared long enough to see the strangeness, the nose he never paid attention to, the asymmetry he never noticed, the shapes that felt unfamiliar. The brain recognizes others better than it recognizes itself. Self-perception relies on memory, not accuracy. So when memory slips, so does identity. This is the unfamiliar self phenomenon, a cognitive shock where your own face feels like a stranger's. Human trigger? Comfort with your face is an illusion of repetition. Emotion shift? Disbelief to tension. You didn't forget your face, you stopped rehearsing it.
Number 4. When the reflection feels more honest than you are. He avoided the mirror for days because every glance felt like exposure, not of appearance, of truth. The mirror doesn't care about your coping mechanisms, your excuses, your narratives. It shows posture, fatigue, tension, resignation, the details you hide from others. This is identity truth lag, the reflection revealing the version of you that your mind avoids. Human trigger? The mirror becomes terrifying when it becomes accurate. Emotion shift? Tension to chill. You didn't fear the reflection, you feared the honesty. Number 3. The moment you don't feel inside your body. Looking too long at your own reflection can trigger a strange sensation. You see the body, the face, the gestures, but don't feel connected to them. This is depersonalization, the breakdown of internal self-location. You become a spectator inside your own life. The reflection feels inhabited by someone else, someone using your face but not your identity. Human trigger. Self-awareness fails when the body becomes scenery. Emotion shift. Chill to collapse. You didn't leave your body. Your mind stepped away from the mirror. Number 2. When you realize you've been performing yourself for years. Self-awareness fractures when the performance cracks. He realized one day that the way he smiled, the way he talked, the way he stood wasn't natural. It was practiced, rehearsed, repeated. A persona constructed from expectation, approval, survival, adaptation. And the mirror was the stage. This is identity performance dissonance, the collapse that occurs when you recognize you were never being yourself, only the version you knew how to show. Human trigger. Self-recognition dies when authenticity is forgotten. Emotion shift. Collapse to awareness. You didn't lose yourself. You lost the act. Number 1, the breakdown, when you don't know what the mirror wants from you. The deepest collapse isn't fear, it's emptiness. He stared into the mirror and realized he didn't know what expression to make. Smile? Neutral? Sad? Calm? Nothing felt correct. Nothing felt connected. Nothing felt like him.
This is the full mirror test breakdown, when the brain loses the internal template of the self. The reflection isn't frightening, it's unfamiliar, and unfamiliar is worse than terrifying. Human trigger. Self-awareness ends when the reflection stops offering certainty. Emotion shift. Awareness to quiet shock. You didn't fail the mirror. Your identity ran out of script.
The reflection that still remembers you. If a memory resurfaced, if your chest tightened, if you've ever stared too long and felt a fracture, that wasn't weirdness, it was recognition. Self-awareness is fragile. It bends under stress, sleeplessness, trauma, identity shifts, emotional numbness. But the breakdown isn't the end. It's the beginning of noticing yourself again. The reflection doesn't expose you. It reminds you, you are still here. Even if you forget, even if you detach, even if you momentarily fail the test. If your breath changed while reading this, if the world feels quieter, if the mirror feels heavier, that's not fear. That's your awareness returning to you. Share this video for the one who hasn't looked at themselves in a long time.